Hello viewers. Grid down, house power down, natural disasters, out in the boonies hiking, camping. What's the way you can recharge these, and of course these. Let's have a talk about it. Back in a few seconds. Hello viewers, this is a video reply to Alaska Granny. I was on her YouTube channel a couple of days ago, and the video I was looking at was backpacks for emergency situations and that type of thing, and how much you can pack or pack and the size of them and so on. A very good video, and I do recommend her channel. This is a call out to her channel. Please subscribe to her. But in the conversation, sharing conversation on that video, we talked about emergency communications. Now typically in a disaster scenario, whether it's natural disasters or man-made, the power grid falls over, and this we have experienced ourselves here in natural disasters, whether it's a localised event or a much bigger one like the 2011 floods. When the grid power goes down, some people off-gridders have their own power source, whether it be generator or solar power or something like that. But Alaska Granny, I did talk to her about handheld radios, walkie-talkies, whatever they're called these days, and alternative charging of these. Most of them come out with lithium-ion battery packs, and an alternative way to charge them, if the power grid goes down or you lose power to your house. I did a video on this about 7 years ago. It's on one of my playlists under emergency communication, but this is just an update. Technology has improved since then, so we'll move on. Now, for most people these days, we have these types of phones, the cordless phones, and of course the docking stations or docking cradles for them require grid power to work, let alone the telecommunications infrastructure, which in disasters around here have failed. Similarly, a lot of people just have these, some sort of mobile phone or cell phone as they're called, but they all have battery packs in them that are rechargeable and need charging, and of course they need power to charge them. So when Alaska Granny and I were talking about handheld radios or walkie-talkies, I mentioned to her that there is an alternative way to charge these radios if the grid power or your house power fails in a disaster or something like that. Now, most radios these days, handheld radios, I'm not going to do a spiel on different types of radios and all that sort of thing. There's so much of it on YouTube, good, bad or indifferent. But they come with a docking station like this, and usually some sort of adapter plug to plug into your power socket on a wall. Here in Australia it's 240 volts AC, in other countries it's different. And that's fine while you've got power. These radios have lithium battery packs in them, and of course with all batteries, over time they will go flat, depending on how often you use the radio or carry an extra battery. Now we use these extensively when we're out hiking, camping and so on like that, both for emergencies and also for general chit-chat if we're in separate groups or whatever the case may be. Around the local area I've got a radio base station. It's all low-tech stuff, of course, but it works. Generally most people these days want to go with these, and that's fine while the telecommunications infrastructure is still working. Alternative ways of charging these handheld radios. These days the technology has improved, and for the most part you can charge them off a 12 volt DC car system. They are charged by a USB adapter or port or something like that. Now this one here, you can see it in camera, that plugs into the cigarette lighter in your car. That's the USB port there, and I have one here. That's a USB cable that plugs into that adapter. Some retailers, I bought these online on eBay Australia. It's sometimes the USB charging cradle or dock includes these in the package. Some don't. You might have to buy them separately. Similarly, this is another one that came with a pack we bought. It's just a straight out cigarette lighter adapter. Plugs into your cigarette lighter, and plug your radio into the cradle or the docking station, and it charges the radio from 12 volt system on your vehicle. Another type, this is another cigarette lighter type adapter, like that, and you can see the USB port on the back where you can plug in a docking station with the USB cable. Other uses, well, what do you think? Uses, we use it for the 12 volt systems. It's our backup system if grid power fails. Is rechargeable lanterns. These are LED lanterns we use around the house, and you can see there just where my finger is. This also has a 240 volt or mains or grid power charge pack, but I can also plug that into the vehicle 12 volt system and recharge that LED lantern. That also has flashlights that detach from the side of it, and Alaska Granny did bring up a good point on that. The technology of flashlights and torches these days are USB rechargeable, and certainly with the right adapters you can recharge it off your vehicle power supply. Cameras, that's another one. Some cameras, like this one, I use, it's a handy cam, certainly the one I'm using for this video, have a USB plug on it, which I use when we're out and about bushwalking, hiking, camping and so on, to recharge the cameras from the vehicle 12 volt DC supply. Now in a minute I'll take you over to the adapters that we've used in our car, or our four-wheel drive, and one of the things that you've got to be wary of is the condition of your car battery. Whether it's fully charged, might be a bit old, because some of these items that you charge draw a fair bit of current out of that battery, and you certainly don't want to deaden your flat, particularly out in the boonies somewhere. But ours has a dual battery system in it. So that's for Alaska Granny. That's the USB rechargeable walkie-talkies we're talking about. Used for emergencies when you're out hiking, camping, something like that. I'm not going to go into frequency designation. Each country is different. Another thing with these radios is that I've got these ones that are manually programmable, so that I can program the frequency channels in there. And if a situation arises where I need to enter a new frequency into the radio to talk to somebody, I can do it manually in the bush. A lot of them these days are programmable by computer, a computer program and so on. Yes, it's a lot faster. You can also do it with these, but what I found is, particularly in our case, it's much more convenient to have a walkie-talkie that's manually programmable, and most of the functions on this radio, or these types of radios, are manually programmable ones. can be done in the field. You don't need a laptop, you don't need a computer to do it. Alright, next up we'll go and have a look at the USB fittings we put on our four-wheel drive to charge all these items: your phones, cameras, walkie-talkies, rechargeable torches, flashlights, lanterns, LED lanterns and so on. Alright, back in a sec. Okay, this is the USB charge adapter system we've got in our 4x4. Now you can get them in banks of USB ports like this one. This one's got 3. You can probably get ones with 4 or 5, I'm not sure at this stage. And it's just attached to the dashwork with heavy duty industrial double-sided tape. Now currently at the moment, on the far left hand side, that's for our GPS, and the one on the far right hand side is for my dash camera. The one in the center USB port is currently patched in to charge that radio. You can see the red light there, it's actually charging. These can be used while the engine is running. Most charging systems on vehicles, you're looking somewhere between 13.5 volts and a bit over 14 volts, whatever. These are very tolerant to it. This is a regulated output out of these USB ports. And generally you find while the engine's running, the charge time can be shortened. This is not where I normally set a radio when I'm using my USB ports or any other device that's being USB charged. It's just for the convenience of this video. So that's one option, and that USB port bank is actually plugged into the cigarette lighter on the car. Okay. The other type of USB adapter, which I showed in the first part of this video, is just a single port, plugs into your cigarette lighter, USB port on the back of it. You can see the red light there, which means it's got power to it, and the docking station, it's also got power to it as well. So that's charging that radio. This is another type I showed you previously, the USB cigarette adapter. This one has a single port. You can get them with dual ports on them. But this one you can see here, the blue light is on, which indicates it's working. And of course the docking station down here, the red light is on and it's charging that radio. Just a reminder that if you're using these USB adapters, your ignition switch has to be on accessories for stationary charging, or when you're driving, that's not an issue. Just kickstart it and it'll charge while you're driving. So there it is. You're going to have to work out where you're going to put these in your vehicle if you happen to be driving. I wouldn't recommend putting these docking stations in direct sunlight, so you may have to look at mounting them somewhere else where they're protected from the sun, particularly in Australia with the heat, and of course where it's stable. Now, one of the problems I've found with any docking station, with any handheld radio, and we do have other brands, is that while you're driving along, they're not exactly stable. That radio is sitting in that docking station. They can fall out, they can move, they can damage the contacts in it or something like that. So that's something you have to work out for yourself, guys. But the system does work, and it is an alternative power source for any rechargeable device when the grid power goes down or your house power fails. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later.